Welcome back, everyone. It is a little warm out here this day, but we are back pressing play. I have a rose that has been drying out. It doesn't look that good right here. But this was the rose that I had when I spoke, and one of them broke off because my flowers fell over in the drive there, and it snapped off, and I was like, hey, this is for me to use and to use as symbolism. And when it was fresh and it looked good, I was talking to the ladies about this rose and the rose of Sharon and how there's intimacy. And I found some information, and it says that the rose of Sharon is a plain of land near Mount Carmel that was that was fertile in the midst of a barren terrain, in a deserted desert terrain. So basically, this reference of the lily of the valley, the rose of Sharon, is about fertility, about a soil that produces. The Song of Solomon talks about this, which got me thinking about women and fertility. And so we're talking about this barrenness right in the beginning of this chapter. God has promised that even in the greatest of sorrow, there can be a song of joy. We brought this up. Worship is the Jesus juice we need to flush these negative emotions that so easily try to stick to us like glue. This also got me thinking. We can take this passage and only focus on mothers not able to conceive. But what about the woman whose body can no longer conceive? We have the story of Sarah to show that our God is not limited by our physical limitations to do what he desires with whoever, whatever, in whatever way he desires in the earth. Here in Genesis, we had a story of a woman past her years of child rearing. And even when the Lord gave him a promise, I think it was 20 plus years later before the fulfillment came. And they tried to take it into their own hands. And Hagar came in, and she even running into the desert and saying, this is it, running away because of the abuse that she was experiencing. The father came and gave a name, and she's like, you're the God who sees. This image came and saw her in her place and said, go back. There's purpose to you here. And I will bless your son, and I'm going to give him this name. He told her the name of her son before he was ever there. And then she goes back a second time, and her son's going to die there because Abraham kicked her out this time. And he provided a well. He provided. That's the God we serve. Spiritual and emotional mature women are needed in the earth, and worship is the sacred space to receive divine revelation seed. I want you to imagine yourself as a delicate rose. You're delicate. Every petal counts. Every petal in the rose counts. I learned something, that the outer layer of the rose usually looks a little more messed up when you go to the store, if you don't get them from the florist. And those are called the guard petals. The guard petals, y'all. There's a guard petal. We're supposed to actually peel the outer layer off. That's there to protect it from the elements. Even a rose has petals that guard it. Come on. How beautiful. How beautiful is that? So I have a lot of questions, and you can write these down and ask your own heart this question. What is the eternal message of the Rose of Sharon that goes beyond the page into this earthly eternal realm? I think differently. He's given me a brain that's going beyond the page and really asking things. I wanted to understand a woman's womb, so I'm developing the thought that it can bloom past the years of birthing, for there's a spiritual birthing that is a continuous spiritual birthing that isn't affected by age. Then right here in this passage, it talks about love and the implication of carrying a child. We went into that about compassion, about the womb, that God's love is like the love of a mother carrying a child in his womb, in her womb. Can you be gentle? Can we be gentle with ourselves in our latter years? Can we have compassion for our stories, for our bodies? What we have had to carry? That's beyond children, y'all. Our stories, the secrets, the disappointments, all those things. All the children, the lack of children, combined with years of life's happenings. I am guilty of carrying things longer than he wanted me to. I took things over that he never asked me to carry. Control means the right to govern or rule or determine, which is not trusting that he is going to handle it with care, that he isn't near, that he doesn't care, that he is moving too slow. I have found when we run ahead, we usually get in over our head. Has it happened to you? Has it happened to you? So we must get back to our first love, and that brings us back to intimacy. For without that, nothing is birthed in the natural or the spiritual. Which brought me back to the Song of Solomon and the Rose of Sharon, which is all about intimacy. Into me you see. I've heard that said, the word intimacy broke up. Into me you see. Do we check in enough with the Father above to surrender our will for his higher way? He is the divine encourager, and he is our truest guide to walk through this life. Can we have that kind of love? Worshiping the King brings intimacy. I am finding that I had a more faith in man mentality than in God. And then when man fell, my center got really unstable. And so I had to find a more solid center. I had to focus my affection on the source of all, God himself. God-centered faith was realigned, and it has renewed my mind day after day after day. I want to give even a second example about worship and barrenness. And it comes from King David in 1 Chronicles 15:29. It says, as the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord was entering the city of David, Michal, David's wife, Saul's daughter, watched from the window. And when she saw King David dancing and celebrating, she despised him in her heart. It later goes on to say in 2 Samuel 6:21 through 23, she says to King David, how the king of Israel was distinguished himself today, going around half naked in full view of the slave girls of his servants, as any vulgar fellow would. Michal, daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death from that point on. Barrenness ended up being her future because she despised David's freedom of worship. You know, if we are noticing that some people just seem like, well, they just don't have it as hard. You don't know what they have. We cannot assume we know anyone's story, y'all. You don't even know the half of mine. I'm able to put on a pretty face, but only the Lord knows if this face is, if I feel that it's a pretty face, and how often I feel ugly to him. Only he knows. She despised his worship and she became barren. As mature women, we have a lot good and a lot bad happen in our lives. And I believe the weights of life start to weigh us down emotionally and spiritually. And I want to really encourage you that the Father is not done using you for his glory. It's going to take more time in worship to break off the weights of life's disappointments. But this is your invitation for a divine appointment. I am declaring that over you right now. Right now. This is your invitation. Are you going to pursue whatever the Lord has put in your heart, dreams that you have? I don't believe these dreams are selfish, but we have to check those dreams in with the Father and to make sure that they're aligned with his truest purpose for our life. And if they're not, we have to make an adjustment. We have to reprioritize the order of value and time. Our kids need us, y'all. But they want to see parents who are living fully alive, fully devoted to the Father, and trust that he's going to do something with their lives as they connect back in with him. And it's this walking in the cool of the day with the breeze, trusting that the Father's going to be with you, and that you keep coming back to the garden. And he mends the heart, and he tills things, and he pulls out rocks and roots and infections even. And we're better, and we feel lighter, and we look brighter. And he's done it because we continue to pursue. I've got a new song coming out called Pursue this fall. It seems like it's going to be the first single. We're going to start leaking a little bit about this. And this song has a little melody, and it goes, all I want to do is pursue you, Father. And all I want to do is magnify your name. You're renewing me as I keep pursuing thee. And I feel your joy wash over me. When we pursue the Father and decide that all we want to do is magnify his name, he renews us. You renew in me as I keep pursuing thee, and I feel your joy wash over me. Joy washes over us again and again. 7 years in, and I still have a joy, and I still have a grin. And I've heard it more now than ever, that it looks like I look lighter, and this brightness, this Christ-likeness, this not evoking, but emanating out. The beauty is from within, y'all. We know that. I'm feeling more beautiful in this season. I'm feeling more illuminated in this season. And I'm thankful. And I'm grateful. And I hope you will continue coming along on this widow walk journey. Tell your friends. Tell your sisters. Tell your mother. Tell your grandmother to come along to the widowwalk.org and register. This is not just for the widow. It is for all of us.
Micah, we got you some corn.
Thank you. Can you leave it on the back porch?
Yeah, I got it over there.
Okay.
It's on one of the seats.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
And here we have children bringing me fresh corn, y'all. Right here in the middle of it. Children bringing me good things. It's a good life, y'all. Agriculture. And people know I love good food, free food especially. And so we say thank you for the abundance. You may not feel like you have much, But he says, take what's in your hand. And the boy in the story in the New Testament with the 2 fish and the 5 loaves, or I don't even think that's the right number. He had a little, and it was more than enough for the Father to multiply it 12-fold. 2 fish and 5 loaves, or 3 loaves. It wasn't enough in the earthly limitation to get to what that needed to provide. But then the Father prayed a prayer, and it manifested in multiplication until everyone was fed and everyone had room, had a barrel of food left. This is the God we serve. We're living in a season where a lot of people are seeing lack. They're not seeing from eyes of abundance. And if you're willing to pursue the Father and hand him your lack, and hand him your shame, and hand him your regret, and hand him your pain, and hand him the losses, and hand him your whys, and hand him your what ifs, and hand him your fear, he'll start exchanging those things with good things, with God things. And you'll think different, and you'll see different, and you'll love different, and you'll give different, and you'll believe different, and you'll receive different. And then over time, you're renewed. And you don't recognize that old version of yourself anymore, and you're so thankful that you're not her and you're not him. You're better. So, do you want to just be good? Do you want to be better? Or do you want to rest knowing that there's the best version of you waiting to be pursued? And when you invite the Father into it, it's a good journey, y'all. It's a good news story. So, there you have it. There's a little bit of my blooming womb story. I would love to hear your feedback. If you would like more scriptural references, comment below. The Lord finds these, it finds me. I'll continue as things find me to release them to you. Each month seems to have different things. I cannot predict it because it finds me before I'm able to control it. And this is this spirit-led living journey that I'm on. Happy September, y'all. See you next month.